Hello and welcome to Autofocus. Kia was a late entrant into the Indian market. It's a brand that has since caught up and made up for all of its delay in launching in India. It's a brand that has now become hugely popular. It has its own loyal customers, and it's a brand that has stood for value, great design, and an aspirational quality to its vehicles. It now has about four vehicles in its portfolio, all of them either an SUV or an MPV. It's a segment that has been growing, and Kia really caught on to that segment and has captured the imagination of a lot of its buyers. It is today standing at a point where it can count itself amongst the big manufacturers in India, and the one vehicle that really launched the Kia brand in India is the Kia Seltos, a compact SUV that has genuinely captured the imagination of a lot of buyers. And it's a compact SUV that continues to remain fresh with its design. It is not aged, and yet 4 years almost to the date from when the Kia Seltos was originally launched, Kia has chosen to now launch this facelifted, vastly improved in terms of features, Seltos, which we have come to test drive today. Now we are standing in the middle of the buffer zone of the Pench National Tiger Reserve, an area which has symbolism for the Kia Seltos, with its whole tiger nose grille continuing to be there and being a design feature and signature that really delivers the Kia sort of brand promise. Kia officials tell me that a lot of the changes have been driven by feedback that they have received from current owners of the Kia Seltos, and their clinics have suggested some of these changes might sort of visually enhance the appeal of the Seltos. So what you are looking at is the new Seltos' fascia. There will be fewer elements that you will be able to identify as having been changed. From the side profile, it almost remains identical except for the new set of alloys. From the front, of course, you do see the grille is changed. The entire tiger nose orientation and that chrome sort of frame running across has changed with in terms of its overall width. This, of course, what we are driving here is the GT line top spec Kia Seltos. The grille does feature a different pattern in the X line and the Tech line. Now the same goes for the air dam and the front fender orientation with that Fox skid plate at the bottom. This, of course, is being claimed by Kia officials as having been inspired by a barbell, with the X-Line having been inspired by a tusk, is what Kia officials tell me. But essentially what has gone into the changes is to sort of give it a slightly more aggressive, sporty profile when you look at it from the front. The star map LED DRL, of course, has been extended into the grille here, and that section and that entire impact of that DRL is best felt during nighttime driving. Cube projector headlamps, a trio of them inside the housing, and that entire sort of upright, very macho SUV sort of look continues with the Seltos, and that's what gives it a lot of its appeal. While that new extended star map LED DRL in the front is likely the only feature that will catch your eye and make you believe that this is a brand new Kia Seltos, what has gone on at the rear of the new Seltos, of course, is much more extensive in terms of redesigning. It is, like I said, a facelift, but the rear redesign is more extensive, and as you can see, the entire light signature is different. The entire housing has been changed. It continues with the same tailgate as before overall, but this is still more distinctive rear profile for the new Seltos, and that is caught on by this connected bit in the rear connecting the two tail lamps with its own LED signature. And the turn indicators are now progressive. When you do switch on the turn indicators, they seem to indicate a line of LEDs moving outwards, very much like some of the higher end cars that have featured it before. And the rear reverse light has now moved on, and the fog lamp has moved on to the fender at the rear. What we are driving, of course, is the GT line, and that gets the dual exhausts that are poking out of the rear fender, as you can see, and they are both active and they do deliver a slightly more sporty exhaust note, so it does feel nicer when you're driving the car on the highway. So that's the cabin of the new Seltos that we're sitting in, and the one feature that apparently has been driven by customer demand, or rather two of them. One of them is this new sort of touch screen combination and digital instrument, which is a combined sort of screen that has been fitted onto the top of the dashboard. That's been changed due to customer feedback. And the other change, of course, is this new panoramic sunroof through which photojournalist Bijoy Ghosh is now taking this video. Now this screen has been changed based on customer feedback because the previous Seltos' screen was a little too large. It was also visible from outside the car. It stuck out and had a larger dead area. Now this one has a sleeker bezel, has a much lesser dead area, and of course delivers a lot more impact in terms of being minimalist and being clean and flush with the rest of the car. You get a lot of color theme combinations with either the GT line that we're driving or with the X line and the Tech line. Now these three variants have their own combination of leatherette upholstery with a different combination of colors. Steering wheel, of course, continues to be the stitched leatherette steering wheel that we have experienced even in the previous Seltos. The orientation is fresh. A lot of the elements like this fully automatic temperature control unit looking very premium and upmarket. Overall, this is a far more impactful cabin. Some of the features that you do see, including these door handles and some of the panels, are of course carryover from the previous Seltos, and yet this is continuing to be one of the most plush looking cabins in its class. Gets this nice sort of padded and textured seats. That's the DCT automatic gearboxes shift. And one of the other key elements that people love with the Seltos has been ventilated seats, and this continues to get that. The top trim GT line has a lot many more features. The panoramic sunroof, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this, but then apparently consumers do want this in their cars. Some of the features on the dashboard have been changed, including the orientation for the aircon vents, the FATC controls themselves, and the center console. There's a wireless charger, there's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, an electric parking brake, smart pure air purifier with bacteria and virus protection, and of course what we had before, the premium Bose sound system with 8 speakers continues to be available. Both the driver and the passenger seats get power adjustable controls. It is also now dependent on the variant, of course, capable of delivering an ADAS level 2, autonomous driving assistance level 2 program. Many of these ADAS features that are currently available in some of the other cars in this segment, but they are still unique to the Seltos. The smart cruise control with stop and go, front collision warning and avoidance, lane keeping assist, blind spot collision warning, and turn indicator also does engage blind spot monitor camera that throws up an image into the digital instrument cluster, which again is very convenient. In addition to this, all of the new Seltos variants do get about 15 safety features. Safety is another key area that Kia has focused on. There are a total of about 7 variants, starting from the HTE going all the way to the X line. There is the HTK, HTK Plus, HTX, HTX Plus, GTX Plus, and the X line at the top end. The SmartStream 1.5 petrol engine is available with 4 trim variants. The SmartStream 1.5 petrol with the IVT instead of the manual gets 1 variant, and the SmartStream 1.5 Turbo GDI with the 6-speed manual gets 1 variant, whereas the SmartStream 1.5 petrol TGDI with the 7-speed DCT gearbox gets the top 3 trim variants. And of course the diesel VGT with the 6-speed IMT transmission gets 5 variants, whereas the 1.5 diesel VGT with the automatic gets about 3 variants. So that's quite a wide spread of variants to choose from for the new Seltos. We've driven this new Seltos from Nagpur to the Pench National Tiger Reserve. This is long stretch of highway, about 115 kilometers long, which is a good test bed for the new Seltos. It has a mix of city driving, a mix of small rural roads, and a lot of that has been the National Highway 44. Excellent, beautifully laid out highway that you can really use to try and experience this new Seltos with the new powertrain. This new powertrain, of course, is the SmartStream 1.5 TGDI, Kia's own words. That then means it's the turbocharged GDI petrol engine. This 1.5 turbocharged GDI engine, of course, is the most powerful engine of its class in the Hyundai Motor Group, and that then is about 160 PS of peak output and 253 Newton meters of torque. All of that torque available from as low as 1500 RPM, and that's significant given the fact that it idles at about 700 to 800 RPM. So it's just a tap of the throttle away. Variant we've been driving, of course, is the DCT dual clutch transmission. The other option that you can get with the same powertrain is the intelligent manual transmission, which is a 6-speed gearbox. This engine gearbox combination certainly feels so much more peppy and quick on the uptake. Every single acceleration number is quicker compared to the previous 1.4 that the Seltos had, starting from 0 to 20 to 0 to 100, and of course the 60 to 100 acceleration runs, all of them are quicker, and this feels so much more peppy on the highway. Its top speed is excess of 160 kilometers. Of course, we were not trying that out on the highway, but the point is this is genuinely a peppier and more refined engine and gearbox combination. It feels nice to hold at the wheel and experience the kind of quick acceleration that it can do. It gives you a lot of confidence during overtakes, and of course delivers that sort of peppy run that you would need within the legal speed limits of experiencing it on the highway. The 1.5 TGDI engine in the new Seltos, of course, in addition to being extremely peppy and quick on the uptake, also delivers claimed higher fuel efficiency. Kia officials tell me that the fuel efficiency is as much as 17.7 for the IMT and about 17.9 for the DCT that we've been driving around today. A lot of work has gone into ensuring that this happens. Of course, idle, start, stop and go has been added for improved efficiency, as also variable valve duration that has been changed to depend on the load being put on the engine. There is also a low pressure EGR, exhaust gas recirculation, to reduce pumping losses. The other engine options that you get, of course, we haven't had a chance to experience them today. These are carryover engines from the previous outgoing Seltos model. The SmartStream G 1.5 petrol engine, the non-turbocharged version, is being offered and gets about a peak output of about 115 PS and a peak torque of about 144 Newton meters. This is offered with a 6-speed manual and an intelligent variable transmission. Thankfully, the continuation of the diesel engine, the 1.5 CRDI VGT diesel, continues to be available with the new Seltos, and it delivers about 116 PS of peak power and 250 Newton meters of torque. This engine is paired with a 6-speed intelligent manual and an automatic torque converter transmission. So this does offer the Seltos really segment leading choice of engines and transmissions, with various trim levels, of course, also being thrown into the mix so that you can genuinely get the exact model that you're looking for. One of the advantages with the Seltos has been its handling and ride. That's something that buyers have appreciated. Previous owners, of course, would have experienced the way that it is stable and has great handling even into tight turns, both on the highway and in the city, with the maneuverability being another factor within city. But the point with this new Seltos is it's not just a facelift on the outside and in the cabin. There has been some work that's been done to improve its ride quality and handling, of course with a slightly tighter handling, and in terms of the suspension setting, some minor changes to the tuning has happened, where the front damping has been increased and the rear damping has been reduced, with the intent, of course, of delivering both a more stable ride and improving ride quality at the rear, where a lot of the Seltos owners might be seated when they are not behind the wheel. Now overall, this is the facelifted Seltos, which then delivers a lot more value. It is also a vehicle that now feels genuinely better to drive, with this 1.5 turbo GDI engine, of course, being the highlight. Now the prices are due to be announced. They are going to be starting at about 10.89 lakhs for the base variant and going all the way to about 19.99 lakhs for the top end variant. There is genuinely quite surprised there with the pricing being so aggressive. Kia officials tell me that the intent is, of course, to try and influence a lot many more buyers to then come into the fold with Kia and buy into the Seltos, a brand that has gathered so much strength that this model is now centric to Kia as a brand, and this pricing now makes it an extremely attractive proposition. Go ahead, check it out at the nearest Kia dealership and send us your comments.